My feet so fat I can't get into my roller skates. And my neck and chest don't fit anymore. Look at this. It's a stick up. It don't work. I do this at a bank robbery. I look like a fool.
Hey, everybody, what's up? Welcome to another episode of the Power Up Podcast, the show that takes a look at what's happening in pop culture. We keep ourselves up to date, our mind sharp of what's happening in the world of pop culture, which ranges from video games, anime, manga, movies, whatever suits our fancy, with the goal and hopefully to bring back that nostalgic spirit and to rekindle that dying flame because I think it's trying to be snuffed out by a bunch of garbage that has infiltrated industry. So I'm just another person trying to be aware of what's happening and hopefully remind folks that you still have a good time and be entertained. You just got to go look for it. Sometimes you have to go back to the past, unfortunately. But hey, something about it worked. You think they would just try to do that, but it's hard when you're a bunch of hacks. If you enjoy the show, make sure to hit that like and subscribe button and let me know your thoughts because I want to hear them. Just click that like button, punch that subscribe button, and ring the bell to get notified when I go live. Right now, we're on YouTube, Rumble, and X. And I have other social medias either listed in the description or in the link tree in my bio on X. You can follow me over there if you so desire. Help boost the channel, push that algorithm, all that fun stuff. But just humbled and blessed that you guys took the time to hang out with me and listen to the ramblings of an insane person, which is me. Okay, let's hop into this, shall we? We got a bunch of articles here. Hope you guys had a good weekend. Past week and all that fun stuff, and hopefully your weekend's going well so far this week. Mine's going all right. Let's hop into this. Let's roll. We got a bunch of articles here ranging from different websites. I'll usually name them as we read them. And also, I just go off of the title of the articles. So I don't really, kind of skim through or anything like that. So what you see is as fresh and as organic as possible in terms of my reactions and my thoughts. So yeah, it'll be fun. So if I fall victim of clickbait articles, then so be it. That was the wrong scene. Luckily, wasn't that far off, but I failed. I failed. All right. So, any of you know who Gina Carano is? She has been battling against Disney in a lawsuit because Disney are a bunch of a-holes. We're censoring right now. We'll probably unleash the venom later on. And we got a up-to-date article here in terms of like a day gone by per se. However, stuff that's happening in her lawsuit, according to that Park Place, is informing us that he has gotten a big win against Disney in her lawsuit discovery battle as the judge orders Disney to hand over actor pay records within 20 days. Amazing. I saw a little bit. I follow Gina on X. I was reading a little bit of her tweets like a couple days ago, and I saw this. But let's get into exactly what it entails. So, in a major legal victory for Gina Carano in her lawsuit against Disney, the U.S. District Court for the Central District of California has granted a motion to compel Disney to turn over key documents related to how other Star Wars actors were compensated, including big names like Pedro Pascal, Rosario Dawson, and the cast of The Mandalorian and Grogu. The order comes after 8 months of what Carano describes as Disney deflecting and stalling in her wrongful termination lawsuit. That's the part that I read about, is that they were stalling. So, this court order will force Disney to comply within 20 days, handing over verified spreadsheets showing how actors were paid across The Mandalorian, related Disney Plus shows, and the upcoming film. The ruling partially grants Carano's motion to compel, marking a pivotal moment in the ongoing battle between the Cara Dune, actress and one of Hollywood's largest media corporations. I think I read somewhere that also that Disney's kind of freaking out with the tariffs, which good. Go fist yourself, Disney, you piece of garbage. You're no longer Walt Disney anymore. So over on X here, you can see the case and read it for yourself. Sure, someone else probably have read this, maybe Legal Mindset or something. I will not because I will lose interest very quickly. Discovery motion granted in Gina Carano's case against Disney, wrote her attorney Jean Scherer on X. The court is forcing Disney to turn over information about how stars like Pedro Pascal. Okay, we kind of already read that. Wait. I felt like this was like already stated, like above. I literally felt like we just read that, unless I actually did, and I'm already losing my spot. Not surprised whatsoever. So, a motion to compel is basically a legal way of saying they're not giving us what they're supposed to. Judge, make them. Carano's legal team filed this motion back on April 2nd after 8 months of what they claim was stonewalling by Disney during the discovery process. In plain terms, her lawyers need access to Disney's internal data so a damage expert can calculate what Carano likely would have earned had she not been fired in 2021. The court agreed, finding that Carano's request for pay data across Star Wars actors was reasonable, relevant, and necessary to establish lost income. And then you got according to the court documents right here, the root substantive and material questions relevant to the party's claims or defense. I think this is pretty much just kind of reiterating what we're getting across. While the court didn't grant everything Carano asked for, it gave her legal team the green light on several key points. Disney must produce actor compensation records within 20 days of the order. What if they don't? Like, do people get arrested, I'm assuming? What if they said no and then with the like arrest or something, they then I don't know. The documents must include verified spreadsheets, not vague summaries or cherry picking numbers. Nice. The scope includes Mandalorian, others Disney plus Star Wars series, and the upcoming Mandalorian. Okay, we've read that like 3 times already. If more records are needed, Carano's lawyers can ask for additional evidence after reviewing what Disney hands over. So, in short, this isn't just a minor win for Gina Carano's Disney lawsuit. This opens the door to even more discovery if the experts believe the first batch isn't enough. Nice. And the order shows the court won't let Disney bury relevant information in this high stakes battle by playing procedural games, her lawyer said. The judge granted Carano's motion to compel in part, ordered Disney to hand over the following within 20 calendar days unless both sides agree to other deadlines. Here are the required documents, actor compensation summaries. Pedro Pascal, Carl Weathers, Mandela Steinberg in The Acolyte, Diego Luna in Andor season 1 or 2. I'm just reading like the names that we haven't read already. Carl Weathers contracts. Disney must turn over Carl Weathers' actual contracts for The Mandalorian season 1 through 3 with redactions limited to personal or rep info. Mandalorian movie pay date data. That spreadsheet, general compensation practices. Also provide verified information either in writing or through discovery explaining how lead and supporting actors were compensated. Among all those shows, especially a pay structure different between series. So the judge denied Carano's request for other actor contracts beside Carl Weathers and the budget and profits from Star Wars show and films. Why? However, this door isn't fully closed. The court said Carano's team can renew these requests after they disclose their expert witness, but only if that expert lays out exactly how those figures tie into their damage model and proves that no other available data could serve as a substitute. So this was a strategic denial, not a shutdown. And then the 20-day timeline is strict, but the parties can agree to modify it as long as it doesn't violate the trial schedule. Info can be given on an attorney's eyes-only basis, but Gina's expert is allowed to use it to build her case. Disney's tried to get sanctions or penalties against Carano's side. The court flat out denied the request, and the April 23rd hearing was canceled because the judge resolved the issue in writing. Here we go. What if Disney doesn't comply? So if they decide to be a bunch of beta bitches and drag their feet, there are serious consequences. The court can issue sanctions against the company, including fines or forcing Disney to pay Carano's legal fees for wasting time. The judge could also strip Disney's rights to object to future evidence disclosures, meaning Carano's team could gain access to even more internal data with less resistance. In the worst case scenario, Disney could be found in contempt of court. That's the legal equivalent of poking the bear and would reflect terribly in public and in the courtroom. Oh, well, I would say that the public already has a good opinion about how Disney's going about these days. More importantly, failing to comply would paint Disney as obstructive and possibly guilty of hiding something. It would bolster Carano's claims that her firing wasn't unfair, it was targeted and discriminatory. A pattern of disrespect. The legal breakthrough comes just days after Carano blasted Disney on X for continuously disrespecting her long after her firing. This includes the recent ESPN Women's History Month tribute that scrubbed her entirely from the legacy of mixed martial arts, despite her central role in establishing the sport. Indeed, he stated their discrimination is plain as day. Maybe that is why they are delaying providing the proof, sitting right in their in their files. I was going to say flyers, but maybe as far as I'm concerned, any flyers from Disney nowadays shows on how much of a bunch of assholes they are. And she's also accused Disney of holding a double standard when it comes to political or ideological statements made by actors, pointing out that others in the company's orbit have made far more controversial comments without facing terminations. Indeed, like Rachel Zegler, for example, who had some harsh words about Trump supporters. Oh, that they should never find peace. Oh, but we didn't mean violence. We meant, mostly violence. Oh, but if the right side did that, ooh. And for those that may not know, her lawsuit is being supported financially by Elon Musk, has become a rallying point for critics of cancel culture, forced corporate ideology, and the erasure of dissenting views from entertainment. With this latest court order, the stakes just got higher, and Disney's usual no comment strategy may not hold water for longer. Well, there you go. Tip my hat to you, Gina. Hope all is well with you, and yeah, I hope you win big time, and Disney can go, play on some train tracks or something in Minecraft. So a lot of people didn't want it to happen, but apparently the Minecraft movie is shattering box office records with 301 million weekend. And I want to say, I think that beats Mario, but Mario's still like the number one video game movie adaptation. So as you read up there, opening week is 301 million. Opening weekend, let's see. This is April 6th, so we're a little far behind. It might be higher. Who knows? The part live action and part CG film ranked in 157 million in the American box office and a staggering 14.4 million from the international markets. The new milestone has cemented a Minecraft movie as the most successful opening for a video game to film adaptation in the American box office, subplanning the Super Mario Brothers, the latter of which remains the most successful game movie adaptation in lifetime ticket sales. Oh, okay, there we go. So I was correct. So it reportedly had a budget of 150 million, so it already recouped more than double its cost, making the movie an instant hit. Box office analysis are tracking the Minecraft-inspired film to be earning more than both Sonic 2 and 3, Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, and even Nintendo's Detective Pikachu, though it hasn't fully caught up to the Super Mario Brothers movie, and it just premiered worldwide exclusively in theaters on April 4th, 2025. Well, there you go. I still think it looks gay, but the power of millennials and Gen Z at least shows strong in terms of Minecraft. Now the polls, that was different. The people spoke in that. Plus Jack Black, like I think is a terrible Steve, but whatever. It's Jack Black. That's pretty much what they're thinking. But there you go. Did you guys plan on seeing the Minecraft movie? I haven't gone to a theater since Dragon Ball Z Superhero. I feel like that's the last one. And I think that was limited just down here in Texas. So it's been a while. It has indeed been a while since I've seen a movie in theaters here. Let me know what you guys think. If you've seen the Minecraft movie, let me know what you think too. Well, bam. Oh, that's just a Video Game Chronicle website in general. There's a lot of articles, as you can see. So we'll close out of that. Here's some Pokemon information. Pokemon Black and White Anniversary set will reportedly be treated like Prismatic Evolution. The upcoming Pokemon trading card game set based on Pokemon Black and White will be a special set like the Pokemon Prismatic Evolution. The set will celebrate the Unova region, which first debuted in Pokemon Black and White, released for the Nintendo DS in 2010. Now, I played that one. Did I play? I think I played. I don't think I played X and Y yet. Isn't there like Black 2 and White 2? I've been going through the list. I need to get up to when it started, when Pokemon started becoming retarded with the whole like defeminizing women and all that stuff. So the set will include all 156 of the Pokemon originally found in the Unova region to celebrate 15 years since the games were released. It will be released in Japanese as Black Bolt and White Flare on July 18th, with the English set expected to follow later in the year. It's now been suggested that the set will be a special set, which means it won't be sold in booster packs or booster boxes at traditional retailers. And yeah, isn't like the scalping of like Pokemon insane? I'm playing Pokemon Pocket, which I really enjoy. I should try to play more of my old school Dragon Ball Z card game, because there's some groups on Facebook that still keep that alive, but I'm antisocial in terms of it. I feel like I'm just in go. It gets tiring. But that's just me being a narcissist. As reported by Poke Beach, the set will include two different Elite Trainer boxes, one featuring Reshiram and one featuring Zekrom. There is a precedent with multiple Elite Trainer boxes being released for sets, with the last dual release coming in 2024's Temporal Forces. And then, according to the report, the product lineup is similar to that of the Prismatic Evolution's most recent special set. That line includes the Elite Trainer box, poster collection, binder collection, mini tins, text stickers, packs, premium collection boxes, and booster bundles. Kind of makes me think of Magic the Gathering. I used to collect Magic the Gathering too and play it as well. If I do any Magic, I just play Arena, save that money. So the next TCG set, Destined Rivals, will be released on May 3rd. And then earlier this month, the Pokemon Company released a statement addressing multiple fan reports that trading cards have been difficult to find. Oh yeah, here we go. We're aware that some fans are experiencing difficulties purchasing certain TCGs products due to a very high demand impacting availability. Statement reads, I think it's just a bunch of dickhead scalpers waiting in line. As I've seen the videos, they're out there. We understand this inconvenience can be disappointing for fans, and we are actively working to print more of the impacted Pokemon TCG products as quickly as possible at a maximum capacity to acknowledge this. Reprint products are expected to be available at participating retailers as soon as possible. So yeah, we're going to be bouncing around between Video Game Chronicle, that Park Place. Got some bounding into comics, and I forgot to look at another source I usually look at, but that's all right. But hey, Nintendo Switch 2 pre-orders delayed in Canada to align with the US. This was released at 5:01 p.m. Today. So, in a statement, Nintendo said it intends to align Canadian pre orders of the new system with US pre orders, which were pushed back last week. So, Nintendo Switch 2 in Canada will not start on April 9, 2025. That would be the pre orders to align with the timing of pre orders to be determined in the US. Nintendo of Canada said in a statement. Nintendo will provide updated information at a later date. The launch date of June 5th, 2025 is unchanged. Want to know what should change? That retarded price. So last week, despite announcing a price for the system and when the pre-orders were set to go live, Nintendo later walked back its US plans for pre-ordering the new console. So pre-orders in the US will not start April 9th. In order to assess the potential impact of tariffs and evolving market conditions, Nintendo said in a statement to GameSpot. And this, I believe, is incorrect, or at least a bullshit lie, because I do not believe the tariffs are indeed affecting the Nintendo Switch 2 price, because Vietnam, I believe, where Nintendo makes a lot of the Switches, are already willing to like tell the United States that yeah, we'll give you our tariffs we set for you will be at like 0, because they're already like, yeah, we don't want that amount that you're you're instituting on us or whatever. So I don't believe this for a second. Nintendo will update timing at a later date. The launch date of June 5th, 2025 is unchanged. At the time of writing, Nintendo has yet to confirm when the consoles will be made available for pre-order in the US. The system has been made available in Europe and the UK, as well as Japan. And good old President Donald Trump has been imposing tariffs on numerous countries in recent weeks, including a sizable tariff on China, where tech products are often manufactured. Oh, poor China. Last Wednesday, he also introduced a blanket 10% tariff on all imports with countries like China and Japan, what Trump calls the worst offenders, getting large tariffs of 54% and 24%, respectively. Oh my goodness gracious. You mean they can't, squeeze America anymore? Oh, such a shame. Oh, it hurts. A report for the Financial Times last month suggested Nintendo had already been shifting product away from China since Trump's first administration stated its intent to upend global trading, noting that more than half of the hardware Nintendo imports to the US from Vietnam and Cambodia. And like we just said, Vietnam is willing to negotiate. However, the tariff imposed by Trump on Wednesday, which he says will go in effect on April 9th, include a 46% tariff on Vietnam and a 49% on Cambodia. Again, they're conveniently leaving out that Vietnam is willing to negotiate with America about all this. Well, there you go. That's how that's affecting it. So again, apparently Video Game Chronicles is obsessed with the tariff situation. We got another article here that ties in with it. Analyst firms lower Switch 2 forecast over tariff pricing concerns, still predicts the fastest selling console ever. Well, I'm sure the unit will sell. It's the matter of the $80 video games. That's the problem with like the minimum being that and digital, where you don't even own it. That's the big issue, because there's going to be the shills that will buy it regardless. Major games industry analyst firm has lowered its Switch 2 sales forecast, but still think it'll be faster selling console ever despite this. So this is the DFC Intelligence, which has been covering the games and digital media industry since 1994, has published its updated insights on the Switch 2's launch. The firm had previously forecast that Nintendo would sell 17 million Switch 2 consoles by the end of 2025, but it has now revised that down to 15 million due to, again, the concerns of pricing in the wake of the U.S. President Donald Trump's wave on tariffs. While Nintendo has said Trump's tariffs had no impact on the $449 price point, except for Switch 2. In fact, the company has delayed Switch 2 pre-orders in the U.S. because it wants to, quote, assess the potential impact of tariffs and evolving marketing conditions means a price increase in the US hasn't been ruled out. So with tariffs and uncertain pricing, Nintendo may choose to scale back its manufacturing, DFC Intelligence said. If prices increase substantially due to tariffs, a significant portion of prospective buyers are likely to hold back on a purchase until prices come down. This situation is changing and will closely monitor as DFC regularly updates its forecast throughout the year. Despite its decision to revise its forecast down from 17 million by the end of 2025 to 15 million, it does say that it still believes Switch will be the fastest, Switch 2 will be the fastest selling console ever, given the original Switch, PS4, and Wii took at least a year to hit 50 million sales. It also believes the sky's the limit when it comes to lifetime sales for the console. Well, I would hope so. But then again, I would also hope that no one would buy it until Nintendo lowers their prices. Long term, the upper limit for the hardware sales for the Switch 2 is enormous. It said the Switch 2 continues an established system. The ability to act as a portable device taps into Nintendo's rich history of offering portable console experiences. I mean, back in the day, yeah. I mean, but now you got your Steam Deck, and I've seen other stuff floating about. But, you know, a lot of people are starting to go PC. Because that's like one of the only ways you could probably get a game as pure as possible, because modders and all that stuff will either uncensor it, translate it right, get rid of the woke, stupid shit, all that stuff. That's what's happening with me. I do, PC emulation. I have all my consoles still, and I still try to at least have a physical copy of said game and then just get, make it as pure as possible in whatever way I can. That's what I do. So in terms of overall hardware unit sales, Nintendo has its peak in 2007 and 09 when the Wii and DS were available and would regularly sell combined 40 to 50 million units a year. As the Switch 2 matures, it has the ability to capture an even larger share than the original Switch. Well, there you go. Let me know what you guys think about Nintendo's prices, by the way. I think it's retarded as hell, honestly. If anything, like the video game prices, the console prices, I guess, maybe, I don't know. I definitely think it's the video game prices. And again, like Nintendo has to realize that parents that are going to go to the store who are dumb are going to say, what's the difference between this one and that one? And hopefully the person will be not trying to make a buck and actually tell them what's up. Like, well, this is a new one. This is this. But they're also going to look at that sticker and go, is that on? Are you saying there's a second one? Yeah. Is this game on the second one or the first one? It's on the first. It's on both. Well, which one's the cheaper one? The first one. Okay, well, I'm getting that. This is what's going to happen. Like, I feel like Nintendo is really banking on the chills and Nintendo fandom to not care about the price and just buy it anyway. But we'll see. Oh, I didn't know this was happening, so I thought it was funny. So I guess a game South of Midnight, which Sweet Baby Inc. had a hand in, apparently it flops. Who would have thought? Who would have thunk? Another SBI project crashes on launch. Another brutal blow, and I think I saw Zara playing. I think this is what she was. It's another brutal blow for Sweet Baby Inc. and its embattled CEO Kim Belair. The company's latest narrative endeavor, South of Midnight, has officially launched. The results are nothing short of disastrous. I don't even know what this game's about. What was meant to be a first-party Xbox Game Pass showcase has turned into yet another cautionary tale of what happens. What's up, Loki? I've been seeing games crash bunch now. Yep. Another cautionary tale of what happens when identity politics takes precedence over actual gameplay. Oof. Here we go. While some defenders try to soften expectations by pointing to Game Pass availability, the raw data tells the real story. On Steam, still one of the most reliable barometers of public interest, South of Midnight has barely cracked 1,000 concurrent players on launch day. Smash JT, one of the most vocal independent gaming critics, noted that even a paltry 2,500 players would have been embarrassing. This game didn't even come close. Oh my, ouch. Ouch. This was 4:20. Apparently this was taken at 4:22 p.m. on launch day. Let that sink in. A Microsoft-owned studio released a new title, promoted at major showcases, and it barely attracted a 4-digit player count on the biggest PC gaming platform in the world. Turn that smile upside down, because I guarantee you are not happy about it. Why such an abysmal, an abysmal showing? The answer may lie in the fingerprints Sweet Baby Inc. left all over the project. Long known for their identity-driven, quote, narrative consulting, Sweet Baby Inc. has increasingly become the face of forced ideological storytelling in games. From character archetypes to dialogue tone, gamers have spotted a clear pattern. Gameplay takes a back seat to social agendas. South of Midnight fits that pattern perfectly. A now viral post from Hub Bandar on X summed up the player's sentiment.
Saying I would definitely like to see more queer characters of color, not just just a white queer character. I would like to see more people that look like me. I think audiences have a very vocal minority of people who are very much against inclusion of anything that's not, as we said, like a cis straight white man.
Made up lingo.
But our
A man.
existences aren't political; they just are. And
Wait, what?
I think that more and more people are.
Oh my gosh, she goes on for like 2 minutes.
Have a very vocal minority of people who are very much against inclusion of anything that's not, as we said, like a cis straight white man. But our existences aren't political; they just are. And I think that more.
Your existence is based in a weird reality. A weird warped reality is what it is. You're a man and you're a man or you're a woman. You like either a man or a woman. That's it.
More and more people are expecting to see that kind of representation, and also expect aren't political, they just are. And I think that more and more people are expecting to see that kind of representation.
Okay.
And I think that more.
What's the sign like whenever someone's like trying to make a point and they clear their throat that they're like lying? I immediately got that. Like, listen to her leading up to this.
More and more people are expecting to see that kind of representation.
No one is expecting to see that representation. No one is asking for it. Dear Lord. And the people who do ask for it, you got your game. You got it. It was called Dustborn or Concord. And that shit doesn't sell. That's why you have to bastardize other games. To hide it inside of it and hopes that no one will notice. And then if it becomes successful, then you could come out and parade about how it was, it was inclusive and XYZ. This is the shit they pull all the fucking time. And the script is old. Oh my goodness. It is so old. Gosh, and they think they're clever doing it every time. Ugh. So the video in question features a long speech about the importance of inclusion. And yeah, I'm not watching 2 minutes and 34 seconds of a bunch of word salad garbage being spewed out. The video in question features a long speech about the importance of inclusion and representation in gaming. Again, it is their version of what they think of is inclusive and representation. This already existed. This is the thing they don't want to admit. This existed, except that it existed back in the time where you could make fun of that stuff. You could make fun of anything. And people didn't get butthurt about it. They just moved on. The creative team's public affiliations have only poured fuel on the fire. The studio's community manager known online as Pikachu Lita. Pikachu Lita has a history of divisive rhetoric that's been well documented by independent critics like Smash JT. Her front face role in the game's promotion only reinforced the idea that this project was built for clout, not for players. That's the other thing too. Is that stuff you heard up there is literally for this. It's for clout. They're claiming they're doing this for inclusivity, for equal representation, specifically for queers and all that, all the fags out there. But really, it's just for one big circle jerk. And again, these people got their circle jerk game. It was Dustborn and Concord, and it failed and rotted in Satan's asshole. They cannot accept that. 7.5 hours of boredom, critics slam the content. Oh my gosh. As if the player count weren't bad enough, the content of the game itself is being widely mocked. Full playthroughs on YouTube clock in at around 7.5 hours. Dang, I streamed and played Last of Us Part 2, and maybe halfway through the game, I was hate playing that game. Like, it was like, well, I put this much hours into it. Like, I gotta get through this. And then I returned that sucker immediately. And I did not look at any of the backlash I heard about it, but I did not look into it or anything. I went into The Last of Us Part 2 as, as neutral as one could probably be. And that game fucking sucked. I got the special edition too. I returned that sucker real quick before GameStop stopped accepting the returns. The Steam user reviews echo the disillusionment. Someone wrote, looks kind of cool. No DEI rot in the game so far. The main problem is the gameplay. It's so boring. About 1.5 hours, I asked myself, do I want to continue? And the answer is no. Not just a bad review, it's a death sentence. When players are bailing before they even reach the halfway point, you failed at the most fundamental level of game design. Ouch. According to Smash JT, not only did the studio decline a review code, but they also untagged themselves from his coverage on X and eventually blocked him altogether. That's not just unprofessional, it reeks of insecurity. If you're proud of your work, you welcome feedback, but if you know you've built a lemon, you hide it. You hide from it. And right now, Compulsion Games is in full retreat. And it couldn't come at a worse time for Sweet Baby Inc., especially with new rumors swirling that Sony has already begun severing ties with the controversial consulting firm. Ouch. Gothic Therapy revealed that a verified insider claimed PlayStation started canceling projects with SBI attached, and potentially massive shift from one of the industry's biggest players. According to the leak, weren't isolated decisions either. They were described as targeted, deliberate cancellation, a sign that Sweet Baby Inc.'s involvement was seen as a liability, not an asset. Ouch. While still unconfirmed, the timing lines up with reports that Sony quietly shoveled multiple in-development titles earlier this year. And if one of those had SBI's narrative fingerprints on it, the message is clear. Studios are finally rethinking the cost of prioritizing ideology over gameplay. Why even hire a consultation firm anyway? What's the point? I think it's literally just for that stupid that Blackstone ESB rating or whatever stupid crap that is. Well, it looks like the game flopped. But the game press won't say it out loud. Players already have. Sweet Baby Inc. is becoming a liability. Pattern is too obvious to ignore. Every game they touch turns into underperforming, over-politicized mess. As the industry quietly begins to question the role of narrative consultation, one thing is clear. Sweet Baby Inc. isn't just losing influence, they're losing the audience. Well, there you go. Never heard of this game. Me neither, until now, until I saw someone play it. Then I laughed. Okay. So now we're getting into kind of the main topic. Again, we read some Nintendo stuff, but the big thing, obviously, that's still going on is Nintendo's pricing. With the Nintendo executives responding And the response is something we've heard before. That from Microsoft back in the day, which I have that clip pulled up. So this is just one of them. $10 is not an exorbitant price. A Nintendo executive defends the Switch 2 Welcome Tour price. The amount of care and work that the team put into it justifies the bill, or the cost, Bill Trinan says. $10 for a demo. Hey, Bill, you want to know what's going to happen? This is what's going to happen. Someone buying it not because they wanted to support the company, is going to buy it because they think it's so retarded, and they're going to upload that video. I guarantee you someone is going to upload this video to you. And then you don't have to spend $10 to watch a fucking demo. But by all means, Bill, by all means, explain to me why you need to add $10 to a... So Nintendo's Bill Trinen has defended the price of the Welcome Tour on the Switch 2, saying the amount of work that went into making it justifies the amount of work making into the demo. Then don't make a demo. Just say fuck it, figure it out. You guys barely make manuals anymore for anything. Fucking just throw it in there. If people want to read it, they'll read it. If they don't, they don't. And you know that people are going to make videos on how to do this on YouTube as well. Not just probably straight up uploading the demo disc or the demo video or somehow capturing it. People are going to literally just make instructional videos on how to do this. This is retarded. Welcome Tour breaks down the Switch 2's features, explaining to the player how everything works and demonstrates this through a series of mini-games. Nintendo has confirmed that Welcome Tour will be a paid download at launch, costing $10, a move which has drawn criticism from some players who feel it should have been included for free with the Switch 2 console itself. So, interview with IGN, Trinan, the Nintendo of America's vice president of product and player experience, said that $10 is not an exorbitant price in his eyes, and that it's a pretty robust piece of software with a lot of great detail in there. Here's the thing. No one asked for this demo. This is the thing. Well, we made this for you, so like you should give us $10 for it. Well, we didn't ask you to make for it. You like just show us pictures. Like they did with the Wii, like with the, the motions for, make sure to put your strap on so that when you, and I'm not talking about the sex piece, but, so that your nunchuck doesn't go flying off out of your hand. Oh my gosh. He's like, well, we made it. So, you should give us $10 because it's a pretty robust piece of hardware. It's a hardware that we didn't really ask for. Did anyone go, you know what the Switch 2 needs? We need a demo disc with little mini games. That's what we need. And then when you're done with it, slap a price tag on that. We'll buy that sucker. Like, no one says that. People are looking for a good deal. So he explained that rather than a simple tutorial showcasing the Switch 2's features, Welcome Tour goes into more detail in explaining the system's inner works. And that in his eyes, the amount of work that went into it creating the software justifies charging for it. For some people, I think there are people who are particularly interested in the tech and the spec of the system and things like that. For them, I think it's going to be a great product, Trinan said. But literally, like the leakers out there, like all the people out there, like have revealed the specs. Like you're making a glorified software manual, not a manual to like a video game, which is different, which hopefully would show you, your controls, some lore. Like remember Zelda way back in the day? Remember when video game manuals were actually awesome and like looked good and all that stuff? This is the tech notice that you get inside of the box. This is the warning label that says, don't be a retard and like dump this and like chuck this in your bathtub or something like that. Oh my gosh. And for that reason, and just the amount of care and work that the team put into, I think it was decided that, yeah, this feels like $10 is not an exorbitant price. It feels like a good value for what you're getting out of the product. And then VGC, and then this is VGC promoting that they went to the thing in Paris and a number of games were available, including the Welcome Tour and some of its mini games. So one of these mini games called Guess the Frame Rate shows a ball traveling across the screen. Players then have to guess what frame rate the ball is moving. I'm sorry. No one gives a shit about the frame rate in terms of it being in a game. Like the subject matter of a game. Let me be more specific. The subject matter of the game. All they want to know is, what does the game run at? Will it be consistent? And if it's not, what do I have to do to make it consistent? That's what people care about. The question gets progressively more difficult as the game goes on, initially making the player choose between 20 frames per second and 120 frames per second, and eventually building up to 60 FPS versus 120 FPS. See, I would not be interested in this at all because I don't care. Like, I just want to play a game. Oh, does the 20 FPS show a picture of the new Devil May Cry Netflix series or X-Men 92 or 97 or whatever the fuck it's called? Guess the frame rate, and they just show like Western animation. It's like, oh, that's 20 frames per second. That's shit. That's running low. Make sure to show little jitters every now and then because that's what it seems like Western animation is becoming. Make it as simple as possible, but let's just start removing frames from, like, you know, the series of frames that create a second. Another mini game is called Super Mario Bros. 4K Demo and tasks the player with completing World 1-1 of the original NES version of Super Mario Bros. Twist is that the game is presented in its original resolution of 256 to 240, meaning it appears as a tiny square on the screen. You play through the level, it reveals itself on the screen in a fog of war style, eventually demonstrating that the entire World 1-1 stage can fit on a 4K resolution display. And then the Welcome Tour will feature additional minigames and tech demos for players that own the Switch 2 camera or a 4K TV. And then the game will launch alongside the console. I think that's retarded. I agree with the people too. It should have just been fucking included. Isn't that what they did with the Wii? Didn't they want the Wii Sports to be separate, but someone convinced them to pack it in and became one of the most famous, you know, included games out there? Just shitting that all away, apparently. All right, well, let me know what you think about the $9.99. I think it's stupid. Again, in the end, like, yeah, maybe maybe the mini games are cool in the end or whatever you have, but some of the concepts of it, it's like, for me, like, dude, I just want to play a game that runs smoothly and hope that it does. And this is what a lot of people are pointing out is like this, it's like, you know, the hand claps of good job, Nintendo. You finally like are now kind of up to date on what has been established for a while. Congratulations, you made it, finally. So the biggest thing that, yeah, we got the Devil May Cry stuff here. I'm just looking at my stuff here real quick. Yeah, the biggest thing that everyone's talking about now is, of course, pretty much Nintendo saying that if you can't, you know, don't be poor. If you can't afford the Switch 2, don't be poor. But we'll get there. We'll get there. So the Nintendo boss responds to $80 Mario Kart price tag with variable pricing philosophy. So last week, reveal of Mario Kart World as an $80 digital title for the upcoming Nintendo Switch 2 sparked heated discussions across the gaming community. Coming in at $10 more than the already increased $70 price standard, many fans expressed sticker shock at Nintendo, especially when paired with the Switch's when the Switch 2's $450 retail price. Now, Nintendo of America President Doug Bauer, yes, that's his real name, get it out of your system, has weighed in, offering insight into the company's evolving pricing strategy during an interview with the Washington Post. Let's hear what he has to say. So, according to Bowser, Nintendo isn't establishing a new universal baseline, but instead embracing what he called a variable pricing. I don't believe that for a second. We'll look at each game, really look at the development that's gone into the game, the breadth and depth of the gameplay, the durability over time, and the repeatability of gameplay experiences, Bowser said. Those are all factors. So I think you can anticipate that there will be a variable pricing. Haven't a benchmark. In other words, not every Nintendo game will cost 80, but some will. I don't believe that for a second. I think they are testing the waters to see if suckers will buy an $80 digital game. And if enough people do, then they're going to go, well, people were asking for it, so we're just going to make everything. I don't like this is so disingenuous. I don't believe this for a second. Mario Kart World, the follow-up to Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, which sold over 67 million copies, is considered by the company one of Nintendo's flagship offering deserving for the premium tier. Bowser pointed to the newly revealed Donkey Kong Bonanza as a prime example of Nintendo's tiered approach. The game will launch at $70, aligning with what's become the standard price point for top-tier titles on PlayStation and Xbox. Did Donkey Kong Bonanza actually, was that a good selling game or something? Does anybody know? Nintendo has experimented with price differences before. The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom was the company's first $70 game, while its predecessor Breath of the Wild remained $60. Remakes like Link's Awakening stayed at $60 despite major overhauls. This flexible model appears to be Nintendo's way of evaluating each release based on content, longevity, and investment, a business-minded approach they feel falls more in line with the realities of modern development cycles. More about what we think is right for our content, what is the right value for the consumer as they come into our platform, Bowser added. A brief history of variable pricing. While some consumers may see this new Nintendo price model as a break from tradition, the truth is this is actually a return to how things used to be. So game prices varied wildly. You might pay $39.99 for one title and $79.99 or more for another. Pricing was based on factors like cartridge size, more memory, more expansive manufacturing, special chips like the Super FX chip and Star Fox, and popularity in the IP. Final Fantasy and Chrono Trigger launched at premium prices. Retailers and publishers had far more flexibility back then, and gamers generally accepted the difference. That's because those games, this is the key thing. Those games, a lot of those games were actually good. That's the thing. That's why they could get away with this. But I guarantee you, Nintendo's probably are going to try to use their best sellers to justify making an $80 digital game. And then go, well, everyone's asking it, so we're just going to make that the blanket thing. So that means $80 for a shit game, possibly. So the industry shifted towards standardizing pricing to streamline marketing and sales. Most major console releases were priced at $49.99 and eventually $59.99 when the HD era started. This move was driven by retail simplicity, consumers' expectation, and a broader casual audience familiar with uniform pricing for movies and music. Man, I am draining, sorry. So in the modern era, uniformity became the default. Got your $60 was considered standard. Only recently have publishers returned to variable pricing. We mentioned before, Tears of the Kingdom came out at $70. PlayStation's first party game, Demon's Souls Spider-Man 2, was also priced at $70. However, indie titles and AA releases are often priced between $50 and $50. Now Mario Kart World at $80 signals that Nintendo is comfortable charging more when it believes the content justifies it. So while the price may feel high compared to recent years, this isn't unprecedented. The reversion to an older, more flexible model that prioritizes development scope and content value over uniformity. Again, that may be the case, but we're seeing how the video game system goes to where they just look at what numbers like in the beginning and they don't care about the rest of the numbers, like, returns, all that stuff. They only care about what was sold, pre-orders and stuff. I mean, we saw it with Ubisoft trying to spin it to where, oh, 1 million players played the game. That doesn't mean 1 million units sold. See, that's the fucking difference. And I will not put it past Nintendo at all to use their best-selling games at $80 and people will buy it and then go, well, everyone's buying the games at 80, so we're just going to make it 80 for. I guarantee you that's probably what's going to happen. Well, I'm not going to guarantee anything. I wouldn't be surprised if that happens. I'm at the point where I don't trust them at all. Don't trust them. Supporting a diverse ecosystem. Bowser also confirmed Nintendo's commitment to the original Switch ecosystem, which now boasts over 150 million units sold. There's no current plans to lower prices for the original models, Switch at $300, OLED at $350, and then the Lite at $200. But Nintendo is watching consumer behavior closely. Not all of them may be ready to jump to Switch 2, Bowser noted. Yeah, well, according to you, it's because they're too poor. Hopefully, with time and with the right games, it'll be compelling for them to want to come play. No. Probably not, because people will either get a port, somehow figure out how to crack it and emulate it, or if you release it on the Switch 1, they're just going to go, well, that's cheaper. I'm going with the Switch 1. And then Bowser's interview took place just before Nintendo delayed Switch pre-orders. We kind of read about this, Trump tariff and all that stuff. Bottom line, while the $80 price point for Mario Kart World may raise eyebrows, Bowser's explanation offers valuable perspective. Nintendo isn't shifting to a flat $80 model. It's adopting a tiered value-based strategy that reflects development efforts, content scale, and replay value. Yes. Now, Nintendo might be the company that probably benefits the most from this. And what I mean by that is that they're not using, they don't use, well, I don't know, but I mean, Mario, Zelda, and all that stuff. I don't really see them using a lot of motion capturing, or using like famous actors in their video games. But we've seen on how much people work on a video game. We've seen that happen to where they will use the amount of people in the game to justify a super high pricing point when no one had ever asked for a glorified walking simulator. When did someone say, what would be nice if like that one actor was in this video game and like, it's super realistic and all that stuff, and it plays more like a movie, and we just get big long cutscenes and stuff like that. Like, I'm sure some people asked for it, but that's not what gaming's all about. It's about the gameplay, it's about the story. Nice fusion between the two. And if it looks a little bit unrealistic, that's fine, like exaggerated features and style and stuff like that. But again, where did this concept of it needs to be a glorified walking simulator, like, where did that come from? Who asked for that? I didn't ask for it. I said, wow, that's pretty cool that Norman Reedus is in, Death Stranding or whatever. Does everything need to be fucking motion capture? No. And you guys can check out my streaming games from the past. I played, X-Men Legends and X-Men Legends 2. Like, those render like, clearly some of the human anatomy is exaggerated, but it looks amazing and it's awesome and it's unique. And for those who remember the days of $70, $80 SNES carts, this isn't a price hike. It's, for better or for worse, a full circle moment in gaming history. Again, my biggest thing is depending on the game, a lot of those games were solid. A lot of those games had a message but didn't have DEI message. Now, Nintendo, like, one of the biggest things like with Nintendo is censorship. Why should I pay $80 for a game that gets censored or some bastardized localization version? Why should I pay $80 for that? When people are going, we want this uncensored. We don't want body type A and body type, B. We want man, are you a male or female? That's what we want. All right. So let's get into, okay. So as you can see right here, this is where everything's coming about. This comes from Nintendo Everything, and Nintendo says it understands that some consumers won't be able to afford the Switch 2, which is why they're still making Switch 1 available. Now, funny thing is I noticed that when you try to click on this, is it actually, yeah, site not secure. So something's happening with this. I don't know if they got rid of this piece or if this site is just getting bombarded to where it can't open anymore. But pretty funny. However, people have uploaded videos responding to it, and I was able to get some screenshots here. And this is the article. So Nintendo understands that some consumers won't be able to afford the Switch 2. So while discussing surrounding Switch 2's price continues, Nintendo America President Doug Bowser understands that some consumers may not be able to afford the system. Bowser was speaking about the cost in a recent interview. For those interested in Nintendo's overall ecosystem, Bowser highlighted that it will continue to have Switch 1 available. New games for that console will also continue to launch heading into 2026. Bowser told BBC, so as we look at Nintendo Switch 2 and you think about the future or the feature sets that I talked about, we believe that the pricing is appropriate for the value of the machine and the gameplay experience overall. We recognize there are some people that may not be able to afford the Switch 2 price point. That's why we want to make the other Switch platforms available so people still have an opportunity to come into our gaming universe, be a part of these characters in these worlds, and see value, if you will, in whatever rung of the platform they come in. We know you're poor, so we'll go ahead and keep the Switch 1 going. Oh my gosh. There's been plenty of talk surrounding Nintendo Switch 2 costs, and some are fearing that it could go higher than the previously announced $450 price. A few days ago, it was announced that pre-orders are being delayed in the US as Nintendo evaluates the impact of tariffs. So that's what the article is, and a lot of people, again, are making the connection that, oh, well, Nintendo pretty much saying, well, yeah, you're too poor to have our system, so we'll go ahead and, continue with the Switch 1. And a lot of people are then remembering what was said back then with the Microsoft executive Don Matrix response to PS4, Xbox One bashing.
Fortunately, we have a product for people who aren't able to get some form of connectivity. It's called Xbox 360.
Right. So stick with 360. That's your message if you don't,
Well,
if you don't like it?
if you have zero access to the internet, that is an offline device.
That was a really cut down version of it. But yeah, what a bunch of assholes. Ridiculous. Don't be poor, brah. Stop being poor. While we charge up, why we ask you to pay $10 for a demo disc. Eat shit, Nintendo. Alrighty. Well, I want to get this into before we wind down for the night. So another big thing that's happening is the Devil May Cry series. And from what I've seen, of course, you're going to have the people who will say it's amazing and who will try to justify its shit writing, its shit bastardizing and all that stuff. Who try to say, well, the games were written bad too. It's like, no. No, it wasn't. And I played the games recently, not too long. I may not remember everything, and I'm not even a super hardcore Devil May Cry fan. But shit I've seen of this series is fucking garbage. The guy had no idea what he was doing. And people are bashing him for it. But hold the phone. He says his goal was to capture the essence of the series' character rather than, quote, the experience of playing the game. Wow, you want to know how you could get the essence of the series? Is if you played the fucking game, you douchebag. So according to producer Adi Shankar, the fact that Netflix Devil May Cry is so widely off base from its source material is that is a feature, not a bug of his creative process. Wait. So widely off base from its source material is a feature, not a bug of his creative process. Okay, that's not grammatically correct. As instead of adapting the experience of the original games, he instead chose to focus his efforts on, quote, the essence of the series' various characters. I don't even like the art style. Again, this looks so plain. By now, most readers, in particular those who are actually established fans of Konami's flavored character action franchise, will have caught wind of the tonal disaster that is its new animated adaptation. But in case you haven't, let's just say that Shankar's take on Dante's story completely misunderstands its source material. From depicting Dante as an attention-seeking Deadpool light instead of an aloof warrior whose goofiness is the result of him trying to entertain himself while slaughtering waves after waves of cannon fodder, to turning Lady from a genuinely interesting character into a generic, strong female stereotype whose every third word is a swear. Yeah, I saw that. I mean, I'm guilty of swearing too, but dude, the writing, oh my gosh, is terrible too. I'm this close of hate watching it. All that I've seen is from like snippets, and it's just like, ugh. Like, oh my gosh. Using the concept of hell and demons as a metaphor for America's war on terror, Netflix's Devil May Cry is a textbook example of what happens when someone who has only a surface aesthetic level understanding of a given IP is allowed full creative control over its adaptation to another medium. I honestly don't think he even has a surface aesthetic level understanding of it. I think he purposely bastardized, as far as I'm concerned. So many people called him on it, saying you're just going to paint this as, Christians bad, demons we should feel sorry for because not all of them are evil, which a demon is literally evil. Like, it's, oh my gosh. And let's not even get into the fact that Shankar gives the Devil Trigger theme song, as originally created for the character Neo in Devil May Cry 4, and whose lyrics are reflective of his inner struggle with accepting his Sparta lineage, to Dante, ostensibly after a thought process that went no deeper than, hey, Dante's using the Devil Trigger. Why don't we give him the song with the name Devil Trigger? Oh, gosh. In other words, Shankar's Dante more closely resembles the version seen in the Bing Bing Wacky Woohoo Pizza Man themes than the flippant but dedicated defender of humanity that players actually control throughout the original video game series. And that was the thing, too. Yeah, he was goofy, but again, just like what the article said, it was, one, he needed to entertain himself, and two, he knew when to get serious. Let's be fucking real. He knew when to get serious. Like, the scenes I've seen with this Dante, like, he's, like, constantly hoping that someone's impressed by him. That is not at all what Dante is. Ugh. While the reasons for this disparity between the two versions of the Son of Sparta are likely equal parts lengthy and disappointing, it seems that at least one piece of this disastrous puzzle lies in the fact that Shankar, per his own admission, willingly sidestepped the overall spirit of the game in favor of focusing on the, quote, essence of the characters themselves. What he really meant is that I'm going to take a look at these characters, and whatever my personal beliefs are, if I feel it fits into that character, I'm going to go ahead and try to shoehorn in there. That's what he really means. So speaking to the series production, during a recent Devil May Cry-centric interview with Animation World's Victoria Davis, the series producer explained, as a fan of the original games, dude, the joke writes themselves. You know what I'm going to say there. I knew these characters were iconic for a reason. No, you didn't. I wanted to explore them. You did, or you were angry at them. See, this is why you chose what is this, a prequel? I'm pretty sure this is a prequel. This is why these people specifically choose prequels. And I posted a tweet not too long ago where it might have even been where he was at this Animation World. is that the announcer of him like doing a pose or whatever, it says creator of the Devil May Cry series, animated series. The dude is not the creator of Devil May Cry. This is exactly what these people want you to fall into. They want their bastardized version to be remembered and to be the origin of this series. They don't want you looking any further. That's why he straight up admits he ignored the video game like the essence of the video game. This is him in a different way saying that, well, I didn't play the video games, but I know enough about the characters that I can bastardize them in any way, shape, or form. I feel I wanted to explore them in the youngest version of these characters we've ever seen. My point, see, again, proving my point. Not adding on to the already established lore, not adding maybe like a part in between and stuff. They want to go back to the youngest version, i.e., the origin of these characters, so that they can rewrite them and bastardize them in the hopes that they will be remembered. And they will be the go-to to go like, oh, yeah, that you've heard of the Devil May Cry series? Watch this. No one is going to go, you want to, like, hey, you want to get into the Devil May Cry series? Let's watch the Netflix. Like, go watch the Netflix. No one's going to say that. Loki says the DMC anime was good. Apparently, a lot of people are going, well, at least the anime didn't have a lot of action, but it was still good. Hell, I enjoyed the DMC version, the reboot. But I went in there knowing it was like to not expect Devil May Cry and to expect something different. Same thing with Metal Gear Rising. You go into there, you can put aside a lot of stuff. And there were some aspects of the reboot that I actually liked. But even that's better than it looks like to this garbage. But at the same time, I didn't want to alter them to the point where they were completely unrecognizable. So again, he's like, right, he is straight up admitting, my goal is to bastardize them in some way, shape, and form, but hopefully no one will notice. Well, people noticed. I wanted to do for Dante what the Dark Knight trilogy director Christopher Nolan did for Batman, he continued, except you're literally fighting demons. It does not need to be realistic. Oh my gosh. I wasn't watching Dante More Nero. Yep. So I want this to be, dude, if you were wanting this series to be your Christopher Nolan, like, you failed miserably, dude. I wanted to take this game character and drop him in the real world. Completely stupid and pointless. No one asked for it. I expected that, though. I approached it as an early 2000 summer blockbuster like The Matrix, iRobot, and Bad Boys, which do have these over-the-top action sequences, brilliantly tied in with Green Day's, American Idiot. Limp Bizkit's, Air Ride, Rollin', which I actually do like the song. I grew up with Limp Bizkit. The original anime is still better. But it wasn't that much about capturing the experience of playing games as it was capturing the character and the essence of those characters. Yeah. In the light of Shinkar's insight, one might be quick to lambast the creative mind behind Castlevania and Castlevania Nocturne for ultimately failing to adhere to not only his stated goal of doing right by the Devil May Cry cast himself, but also his previous claim that fidelity to the original spirit of the IP guides every creative decision. It should be noted that thanks to a bit of obfuscating wordplay on his end, he did actually follow through on both fronts. Note how rather than simply saying he wanted to capture the characters as they have already been established or sought to do justice to the actual series canon, he instead dedicates himself to, quote, the spirit of the IP and, quote, the essence of the character. So this is the stupid shit that he's trying to pull. Lady just kept betraying him, which got so annoying to see. Wow, amazing. By framing his assertions in this matter, the producer allows himself enough wiggle room to say that he never promised a one-to-one. Again, I stated this before. This is what these people do. They loosely word all this stuff together so that when they fail, they can have something to fall back on, thus allowing him a technical cartel block to defend the Netflix series on the grounds that it's simply, quote, his interpretation of the Devil May Cry's identity. Wait, what? Wait, this guy is supposed to be. Oh my gosh. Is that really like this guy is supposed to be this guy? I don't know. Okay. For those wishing to see just how big the difference is between Shankar's Dante and the canon Demon Hunter himself, all 8 episodes of the Devil May Cry animated series first season is now streaming on Netflix. Well, I will go by other means to make sure that Netflix does not get my money if I'm going to hate watch this shit. Gosh. Yeah, he was silent. This dude was silent for a lot of bashing, except retweeting like like artwork and stuff like that. And then finally he couldn't get away from it. And he purposely wrote it exactly this wording so he could fall back on, well, it's just my like right here. I operate under 2 distinct creative banners: Bootleg Universe, where I remix, reinterpret, and intentionally take bold liberties and subvert existing IPs. And then his Adi Shankar animation, where I play things straight, honoring the source material's core essence. Well, you literally didn't do that. And you most certainly reinterpreted. You bastardize it. Hopefully season 2 does have more improvements if it's a season 2. I hope it doesn't get a season 2. I'll say it right now. But that's all I had for tonight. Let's check out the comments. Nobody wanted this. We wanted the games or something adjacent to the games that had the exact same spirit. Also, lady in a skirt. Not too hard to figure out. There you go. Essence? What essence? The franchise's lore is completely distorted. Many things are given completely alien narratives. The characters are rewritten to such an extent that the story turns into some kind of reboot with an alternative universe in the spirit of Rings of Power. The adaptation is made in the worst sense of the Netflix adaptation mean. Oof. Well, and they had 23 uploads over at Bounding into Comics. Just the fact that he felt the need to explain this means he failed. Yep, that's usually what it comes to now. When they get major backlash and they have to post this gigantic paragraph of their reasoning why they did the things they did, that means they failed to convey their message originally in the series. If they did an anime, why not just do DMC 3 game story, but anime style? See, this is the thing, Loki. You bring up a good point. I am one person, what I would absolutely love, just for experimentation, just to see someone do a 1-for-1 of a video game. They literally do like a lot of like, you obviously you're going to have some fillers and you're going to have to take some liberties, maybe to add another side story here and there that's, into the game. But like, what is it with Western animations that refuse to do that, but then they're now trying to copy what anime does? Which, what do animes do? If there was a manga ahead of it, they try to follow the manga to the T. Now, we all know that there's been tons of fillers in anime, but like, that's literally all you have to do. And this fucker just said, nah, I'm not doing any of that. I kind of have a gist of the character, so let's go. Oh my goodness. Let me know what your guys' thoughts about everything. Let's not end on a sour note. I said I'm going to wrap up here, and I am. But let's not end on a sour note. Let's take a look at games that were released throughout the year. Games that we can clearly point to and say, you know what? This game was awesome. I like this game. It's not this. Let's take a look. April 8th. Hell, we'll even look at April 9th, too. Oh, my dear Lord, if you're a fan of the Angry Video Game Nerd, Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, 37 years ago in Japan. Wow. Final Fantasy Origins. Hey, I have that game. I still need to play it. I need to at least play the originals. Let's see. Believe it or not, Dragon Ball Evolution plays like Budokai, and it's actually not a terrible game. It's just based on the very terrible movie. I actually streamed that. You can find that at my live catalog. I try to play a lot of Dragon Ball Z game. Pokemon Rumble World. Ooh, Hentai Clicker if you need a good hentai, apparently. Dr. Mario 64, All-Star Baseball. Well, there you go. There's some games in there. take a look at what's released the next day. Soccer, 1987, 40 years ago. 1985, Leisure Shoot Larry 3. Oh my goodness. Leisure Suit Larry 3. There you go. Alone in the Dark, the trilogy 1, 2, and 3 for PC. Monster Bash. Oh, Super Paper Mario. Not exactly the greatest Paper Mario, but I enjoyed Super Paper Mario. Not the greatest version of a Paper Mario game, but really good. Look at that. We just look at it. Mando's Origins. I don't know that. Well, there you go. There you go. There's some solid games for today and tomorrow. All righty. Well, that is all I had for you tonight, folks. Hopefully, my ramblings made sense in some way, shape, and form. Hope you guys got your dose of pop culture news. Let me know what you guys think in the description below. Make sure to hit that like and subscribe button and turn on notifications to get notified when I go live, whether that's doing this show, the Power Up Podcast, solo or with a guest, which always trying to get more guests on, or my game streams, which we actually finished Tomb Raider 4, The Last Revelation. So I'm a little Tomb Raidered out. So it's going to be a while, I think, before I start 2 and 3 again. But we've got other games to play. Many more games. Got a backlog list. It's over on my locals. Maybe check out my locals. You know, let me know what games you be interested in me playing. And of course, I appreciate all the help in supporting the channel. Just pushing the algorithm. And you can always check out subscription and membership tiers if you want go that route. But humble and blessed regardless. Okay. And with that, I will catch you guys on the flip side. Have a good night. Take care. God bless. And I'll see you tomorrow. We'll be doing more gaming. Until then, peace.